I really like that a lot. So this one's interesting. This is the 2012 Dry Creek Zin. 75% approximately Zin. The rest, what, Petite Syrah?
The good thing, Matt, is on the back label I give the percentages, because sadly as I get older, my memory.
82 Zin, 10% Petite Syrah, 8% Carignan. And you're sourcing this from?
It's primarily from the vineyard on Lytton Springs, although it does have a little bit of Zin from both Bradford Mountain, the estate vineyard where I live and grow about a third of our wines on the mountain, and a little bit of the Bernier. It's a little confusing. I tell people, if you make wine in Dry Creek Valley and don't produce at least one Zinfandel, you're stupid. And if it's not good, you should immediately get out of the business.
So the Ridge Lytton Springs, similar blend in some degree. I think they're using 15% Petite Syrah and some Carignan as well, right? Is that what they're? Yeah. So it's almost, I'm not gonna say identical. It's got a similar.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting.
As I mentioned, before I moved up to Dry Creek Valley, I'd never grown or made Zin, but I had consumed a lot of Zin. And when I was at Mount Eden Vineyards, got to know the folks at Ridge, which were just on the other side of the San Andreas Fault from Mount Eden, and fell in love with what they were doing with Zin, the respect they gave the old vine Zin vineyards. So this is certainly, they were my inspiration. Our winemaking and our wines, I describe them as a little more Burgundian, and Ridge Zin's a little more Bordelais.
Sure.
Paul Draper, who I have great respect for and learned so much over the last 30 years, extracts a little bit more from the wines and then finds them a little bit. We ferment in small open vats. We don't fine nor filter. But to me, the beauty of what I discovered with Zins in Dry Creek is the old field blends brought so much more complexity and spice to that core of that really accessible fruit that Zin has.
Yeah, it does. It's got a lot of spice. Even the tannins are very, I don't want to say well integrated, but they're just really nice and
it's more claret style, if you will. Zin, it's about the fruit, but the Petite Syrah brings a little more tannin, a little more spice, and the Carignan gives, to me, it besides the acidity, it kind of lengthens the flavor.
Yeah, it's a long finish on that one.
And
for Zin, for Zin that's not jammy, right? I think that's a pretty long finish. I mean,
thank you. Yeah, and one of the things with all our wines, Matt, but to me personally, it's not how. It's more important how our wine finishes than its initial palate.
Sure.
Most
of the enjoyment is the aftertaste.
That's right. Or as Martin Ray said once, that he always wanted to make wines that had come on. That when you had a sip, you wanted another sip, because you know some wines after 3 sips, you've discovered everything they have to give, and